Hi, Ernie.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, Mario. So we're going to start the new parak.
Yeah, the nation.
New parak.
Hi, Harold.
Hi, Harold.
Hi.
New parak shlishi, kaf ches, amad aleph. Omer lehem amamuna, tzu'u ra'u migiz man hashchita. Go and see if the sun has come up, and then we can shecht. Imigia, and if he did see it, Haroa Oimer Barkoi, the one who saw it would say, yeah, it's morning, the sun has risen. Masi ben Shmuel Oimer, that he wouldn't say Barkoi, he would say, Heyer pnei kol ha-mizrach ad shebechevron. Or he would ask, Heyer pnei kol ha-mizrach ad shebechevron? Has the east sky lit up until Chevron? V'hu Oimer hein. He would answer yes. V'lama hutzrachu lekach. Why was this complicated question and answer devised? Shepamachas ala me'or alvona. One morning, the moon came up. V'dimu shehir mizrach. And they thought that it was the sun rising. V'shachtus atamid. So they shechted the tamid. But then they realized it was the moon. So they had to take it out, v'otziyul beis hasreifa. They had to burn it. It was possible. Because if it's shechted before before Nates, it's not good. I read it Kohen Gadol beis hatfilah. Now, after they announced or they confirmed that the sun had risen, the Kohen Gadol was taken, we're talking about Yom Kippur now, was taken to the Beis HaSreifa, was taken to the Beis HaTfilah. Zak klal hayeh b'mikdash. There was a rule, because kol ha-mesach es raglav ton tefillah. If you had a bowel movement, you needed to go to the mikveh. Kol ha-matil mayim, if you just urinated, ton kiddush yadav raglam. All you have to do is wash your hands and feet. So the Gemara says, Tanya Rabbi Shmuel Omer, Barak Barkai. It wasn't just Barkoi, they would say Barak Barkoi. Rabbi Kiva Omer, Allah Barkoi, that the Barkoi has risen. Nachuma ben Afaxion Omer, Af Barkai Bechevron. They would say it's Barkai Bechevron as well. Masi ben Shmuel Omer, Omer Amamun ala Paisus Omer, the Kohen who was in charge of the lotteries would say, the person who saw it would say the whole eastern sky is lit up until Chevron. And he would also say the Yatsu Kolami Shish Lamachto, and everyone's gone to work. That was the simon. Well, says the Gemara, Yachin Agale Tuva. People go to work much later than sunrise. And for the Gemara, l'schor po'alim kamrinan. We're talking about somebody who went out to rent workers, which had to be done very early in the morning. Amrav Safra. Salusi davrom mechimashchere koisli. Avram Avinu would daven mincha. He wouldn't wait until 6.5 hours of the day. The moment there was a little bit of, it went beyond noontime. That means they would see a little bit of shade coming off the buildings. Right away, at the beginning of the 7th hour, he would daven mincha there. From the minute that the sun moved a little bit off directly overhead. On Rav Yosef, Anon Avram Nekum v'Nigmar. Understand? We're going to learn halacha from Avram Avinu. Avram Avinu lived before Matan Torah. So why should we be learning halacha from the way Avram Avinu did it? Amar Rav Atana Gamar Mavram. What do you mean? We have an example of a Mishnah that learned halacha from Avram. What we shouldn't go ahead and learn from him? The Tanya. It says in the Brayso, Vayom Hashmini Yimol Basar or Lasa. On the 8th day, you should do the circumcision. The whole day is kosher to do the milah. Ella shazrizin magdim mitzvahs. People who were eager to perform mitzvahs, they would do it right away in the morning. We learned that from Avram. By the Akedah, it says Avram woke up early. So we do learn from Avram. Rav Yosef Hakakashale. Rava says, you know what? This is the problem Rav Yosef had. Did not. Chal Arvei Pesachim Leos Berev Shabbos. When Erev Pesach fell on Friday, and you have to do the Korban Pesach as soon as possible, because you need time to roast it. So, Nishchat B'Sheshu Mechza, the Tomid Shel Ben Arbayim, the afternoon, Olas HaTomid was shechted at 6.5 hours, and the Korev B'Shevo Mechza was offered B'Shevo Mechza. Now, if you're going to make it early, and if this concept of Avram Avinu works, that you don't have to wait till 6.5 hours. You could do it even 6 in 1 minute. So nishchatim mechim mashprei koisel. So shech the korban atomid, if Avram Avinu's halacha is correct, right away. So the Gemara says, "My kusha, what kind of kasha is that? The dilma koisel beis hamikdash. Since the walls of the beis hamikdash are higher, b'sheishu mechza mashprei, because you only see a shade at 6.5 hours. Mishon l'machavni tuva, because that's how the walls are built." Or you can't learn from Avram. Shani Avram did stagninus gedol ha'isa belibo. He had a very strong sense of time. We see that he knew how to plot the stars. He was involved in all of that. So you can't learn from Avram because Avram knew calendar stuff very well. Or Inami. The reason why you can't learn from Avram, because the Shechina was with him. Why? Because the Zaken v'Yoshe b'Yeshiva hava. He was a Talmid Chacham who learned in Yeshiva all the time. So the Shechina is with him. So therefore, because he knew when the time would be, it doesn't mean we know what the time is. And the Gemara says, based on this, already from the time of the Avos, they were already involved in learning Torah. When they were Mitzrayim, there was a yeshiva. The Shenemar, Lech va'asavta es Ziknei Yisrael. Moshe was told to gather the Ziknei Yisrael. The Ziknei Yisrael are the Talmidei Chacham. Hayu Bamidbar was also yeshiva imam. Shenemar, when Moshe Rabbeinu asked for help, HaKadosh Baruch Hu told him, Esfeli shivim ish meziknei Yisrael. Go gather 70 of the Zakenim. So Zakenim meant people who learned in yeshiva. Avram Avinu Zaken v'Yoshe b'Yeshiva Shenemar v'Avraham Zaken Baba Yomim. Zaken means Zekon Chachma from a Talmid Chacham. Yitzchak Avinu Zaken v'Yoshe b'Yeshiva Shenemar v'Hi ki Zaken Yitzchak. Yaakov Avinu Zaken v'Yoshe b'Yeshiva Shenemar v'Nei Yisrael Kavdu Mizoken. Eliezer Avram Zaken v'Yoshe b'Yeshiva Shenemar v'Yomer Avram Elavdo Zakan Beiso. Again, Zakan from Zekon Chachma. Hamoshel b'chol asher lo. Rabbi Lazar, shemoishel b'Torahs Rabbi. Rabbi Lazar was an expert in all the Torahs of Avram Avinu. That's why he was called Hu Damesek Eliezer. Rabbi Lazar shedoyle u'mashke mitorah shel Rabbi la'acherim. He drew from the deep wells and gave to drink to other people all the Torah of his Rebbe Avram. Amar Rav Kiyam Avram Avinu kol haTorah kula. Avram Avinu, even though he lived hundreds of years before Matan Torah, he was Makayim all the mitzvahs. Shneamar, Eikev asher shama Avram bekoili, vayishmor mitzvah sai chukos sai v'sar sai. He was shomer all the mitzvahs. Amar le Rav Simi bar Chila Ram. Ve'ema sheva mitzvahs. Maybe it just refers to the sheva mitzvahs bnei Noach. So the Gemara says, yeah, but that can't be because ikanami mila. Circumcision is not one of the sheva mitzvahs bnei Noach, and we know Avram Avinu was mitzvah in mila. So it must be that he was mitzvah in all the mitzvahs. Freit the Gemara, maybe ema sheva mitzvahs u mila. Maybe he only accepted the sheva mitzvahs and mila. Amar le imkein mitzvah soy, the sorrow soy lamali. Then why does it say my mitzvahs and my Torah? It shows like a lot of mitzvahs, a lot of Torahs from different subject matter. It's not just sheva mitzvahs and mila. Amar Ravi Tema Ravashi Kiyam Avram Avinu Afilu Eruve Tafshilin, which is drabanan. Shnemar Torah soy plural. Achas Torsha B'chsav, Achas Torsha B'alpeh. Avram Avinu was Makayim even Torsha B'alpeh, all the rabbinic halachas. So then the Mishnah had a machlokas. What did they say? Bar Koi or not Bar Koi? Masi ben Shmuel Omer v'hu Omer Hein. Somebody would ask, has the sun risen in the east? And somebody would say yes. Now, Man Omer, who said Hein? Ilema hach de koya igra, is it the person who's on the roof? Who cholim v'hu mefasher? I understand. He dreams and he interprets the dream. That means, how can he's the one who asks and he answers? The person on the roof. The person on the ground. So how does he know in order to say yes? So I can explain according to the shot of the person on the ground. The person on the roof. The person on the roof would say, Heir pnei kol hamizrach. The person on the roof would say, the sun has risen throughout the east. Then, the person who's on the ground would call up to the guy on the roof, is it lit all the way to the Chevron? And the guy on the roof would say yes. That the dialogue occurred to the person on the ground. Meaning, the guy on the ground would say, he would ask to the person on the roof, is the east lit up all the way to the east? And then the person on the roof would ask, are you asking me whether the sun is shining all the way to Chevron? He would say yes. And then he would respond, either yes, he sees it or he doesn't see it. And the Mishnah asked, why do they need all this procedure? Because we said about the moon. How can you mix up the moon and the sun? Batanya. The shining of the moon is different than the shining of the sun. It doesn't spread out like rays. It's like just very straight, like a stick. But the rays of the sun scatter. So how could they mix this up? It was a cloudy day, and even the moonlight was it was scattered by these clouds. a cloudy day is considered that the shemesh is there. Now, what nafkamina and aloch is that? My nafkamina, l'shatuchei oiros. If you want to dry up hides in the sun, so in a cloudy day you can put it wherever you want because the shemesh is sort of dispersed everywhere. That's one nafkamina. A woman should not knead dough for matzah, not in the sun, and not even sort of the secondary sun. And Amrav Nachman Zuam Adashim Shikoshim Shimsha. The sun of a cloudy day is worse than direct sunlight. So you certainly should not knead the matzah dough in a cloudy day. The simonech dinah, the way to remember this is the cover of a jug of vinegar has a very strong smell, more than the vinegar itself. Shvire deshimsha kosher mishimsha. Let's say you're looking at the sun through a little hole. Is kosher mishimsha is even stronger, it hurts the eyes more than if you look directly at the sun. The simonech dilfa. The simon of that is like a torrential rain that drops in one place, which causes wetness even more than wetness that rains on a whole area. Okay. So we will start the Navi Shir at 8 o'clock.
All right.
Okay.